The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. This Monday night, witness the end of an era. John Cena takes center stage for his final appearance ever on Monday Night Raw. One last match, one unforgettable farewell. Come celebrate the legacy of a true WWE legend. Monday Night Raw, November 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, only on Netflix. Be there for the moment everyone will be talking about.
Hey friends, this is Audie Cornish, host of CNN This Morning and The Assignment, and guess what? Every story you care about, every angle you want unpacked is now streaming on CNN. That means you can catch my show or other CNN programming whenever you want on your favorite device. And a subscription also gets you access to exclusive video series and unlimited articles. So subscribe to CNN at cnn.com/subscription.
A blogging, tweeting, baseball man. Just sit back and listen, you'll become a fan. I'm a C70 junkie, a C70. I'm a C70 junkie, a C70. I'm a C70 junkie, a C70. Oh. And now your host, Daniel Shoptaw.
Good evening. Welcome into another Conversations with C70. Just plugging along here, going through our members of the MLB Fan Council. And right now we're talking with Shannon. You'll find her over at Love the Rocks on Twitter. Shannon, thanks for joining me tonight.
My pleasure. I'm excited to be here.
So let's just dive right into the background here. You're out in Colorado. You're a Rockies fan. How did this come about? And, just generally, why are you a fan of the Rockies?
So I was kind of born into it. My family has had season tickets to the Rockies since the day they began playing. And I was young then. And so it was kind of like the activity I did with family occasionally. I wasn't really into it. That changed around the time I graduated, which was about 2007. Coincidentally, that's the year the Rockies made the World Series, had an amazing run at the end. So it was a very memorable time to get really enthralled. But that is when I switched from it's just something I did with my family to I'm actually becoming a fan. Now, a little bit of background is my dad worked in athletics his entire career. My brothers both played baseball, so I came from an athletic family to begin with. And when I started going to the games regularly around that time, there was also like a very like kind of serious thing going on in my own life, and I found solace in the ballpark. So it's kind of like all the things collided, started going regularly, and continue doing so until this day. But about 5 years after that, I got my own season tickets in addition to my family season tickets. They were, in fact, my
Wow.
dad's conference tickets that they gave up and I took over. So we kind of juggle two sets of season tickets now and go all the time.
I'm about to say, if you've got, season tickets at all, but definitely two sets of season tickets, you pretty much there from opening day to closing day, I would guess.
I call the ballpark my second home, my home away from home, and I'm only half joking when I do that.
You've got your parking spot. Everybody knows your name when you walk in, I guess.
We have our rituals just like players have their rituals. And funny thing about our parking garage is, I don't know, I've learned other stadiums can be different, but at Coors Field, there's a big lot, but there's also just a ton of individual parking garages around downtown. We have parked in the same garage since day one, which is neither the closest nor the cheapest. And it could literally be, I'm not joking, the price could be $50 and the one across the street could be $10, and we're still going to our regular garage. It is that much of a routine.
Wow. I don't know what that says. I guess it's definitely it fits in the baseball theme of of never changing things if you don't have to. That's incredible to have that kind of history with the team. I mean, we were talking with um, well, I was talking with one of them. I think it was the Royals when we were talking about the Royals. Oh no, it was Joshua, the first one. I'm blanking out, but him being with following the Blue Jays since not too long after they existed. I mean, you've seen pretty much the entire history of the Rockies, and that's got to be something really special.
It is so interesting. I was actually thinking about this not too long ago, how my life has changed drastically in this time. Many different stages, many important moments, and one consistency has been the ballpark. That atmosphere has been the same. And so it's really interesting because I feel like I've seen myself grow up at that ballpark. And yes, I've seen many different things, many different people come and go. And it is just like, it's the one consistent, and it makes me so happy.
Yeah, the one constant in all the years, Ray, has been baseball, and that really fits right there. I mean, that's an interesting thing. I mean, I'm someone that I'm only I'm 6 hours away from St. Louis, so I'm not at a ball game, but like once or twice a year. To have that as the daily fabric of your life is a really interesting and very foreign concept to me. It's just amazing to be able to, you just know that night you're heading out to the ballpark, rain or shine.
Yes, and honestly, okay, so I don't live super close to the ballpark, and especially with Denver traffic, it's like an hour drive there and then an hour back.
Wow.
So it takes a significant amount of planning just to be ready to go when you need to go, to be gone that long on a regular basis. So I mean, it's an
Mhm.
amazing thing to do, but it also can, when multiple games in a row during a busy week, it takes some dedication too.
Yeah, for sure. Um, do you, how I mean, do you I guess you probably don't make to all 81 at home, but I would say, what do you say, 70, 75?
Yeah, I make most of them. When I skip, it is almost always because of softball. I play on two softball teams. I purposely do them at times when the Rockies typically don't have games, but occasionally something will coincide and occasionally I have to pick softball.
Yeah, yeah, that's incredible. I mean, and it's just, um, amazing to see that kind of make that switch, because I don't know how many people do, right? I think a lot of people either come to it late or they grew up with it and they've just always been a fan, but to kind of be a casual person and then have that switch flipped. You're right, 2007, a great year to do that. That's probably not a typical story.
Probably isn't. And honestly, like I said, there was something really major going on, not in a good way in my life at that time. And I honestly think that connecting with it at that time, that's why I got so deep into it, because
Mhm.
everything else was chaotic. This was consistent. It allowed me an escape. It was something that just, it helped me through a difficult time. And when you make a connection like that with a sport, you hang on to it.
I have seen a bit, when we do these fan council meetings, you on camera, and we've seen your displays and your background. I imagine going to that many Rockies games, you have quite the pile of Rockies memorabilia.
I do. So the room that I film for the fan council is my fan cave. And I actually have the closet custom built into two like Major League Baseball lockers. So I display some of my memorabilia that way, and then around the room is a bunch of other stuff. I am more of a kind of like heart collector rather than like something like I don't collect a bunch of autographs or things that might have a
Mhm.
lot of monetary value, but I collect things that are very meaningful to me personally. And so my collection in my fan cave has a ton of sentimental value. When I come across the other stuff, like the autograph merch, the giveaway merch, I actually do give most of that away on X.
Yeah, and I was going to get into that. I've seen that you have regularly had giveaways and things of that nature. How has that been received? And are people just about are completely clamoring for everything you put up?
Yes. So, okay. So the giveaways started kind of, it wasn't planned. It was literally one day I was cleaning out my closet. I found a handful of old shirts that I'd been given at Coors Field, never worn. They weren't the right size. And I was thinking, oh, I'll just donate these to the Goodwill. I thought, well,
Mhm.
maybe I'll just throw them up on X. Maybe somebody else would want one. So I put like four shirts up there and said, hey, any Rockies fans out of state want one of these? Here's the sizes. Let me know. I'll mail it to you. And that went over so incredibly well. that I thought, oh, that was kind of fun because it made so many people so happy that I decided intentionally after that to do the next one. Like, here's an extra bobblehead. Let's do this. And it just kind of picked up momentum. Um, a lot of people see what's on X. You don't necessarily see what is off X. I get a lot of direct messages asking for certain items or help getting them or help with something. A couple things I've done off the platform and not really publicized.
Mhm.
But in any way, shape, or form that I can give back and help spread the joy that this sport has brought me, I'm happy to do it.
Yeah, that is really cool to be able to reach, and we've got some in Cardinal Nation that do similar things, and it's always really neat to see that it's very easy to put things up on eBay or whatever and try to make a few dollars out of it, but to not only give it away, but also then to ship it. It actually is a cost to you. That's pretty neat, and not something that everybody's going to do.
You know, it's so funny. Okay, so the bobbleheads, for example, I believe this might sound crazy, but I think the baseball gods or the universe are on my side because they know that I don't put these on eBay and they know that I give them away. So when I
Mhm.
go to like a bobblehead game, and those things are hot commodities, you have to be in line
Right.
early. They limit how many you can get. It is not easy to get them. So when I walk around a stadium on a bobblehead day, it is common that I will find like 4 to maybe 8 extra bobbleheads just sitting around. Like someone put one on top
Wow.
of a trash can and abandoned it. Or one time I walked into a bathroom stall and it was sitting like right on the like toilet paper roll holder. And I'm like, this is the universe helping me bring joy to other fans.
That's pretty impressive, yeah. Because I guess we always think that, and you're right, every bobblehead game is one that people get to very, very early and everything, so you expect everybody that comes wants to have that, but I guess there are some people that just like, they take it, but they really don't have a need for it, and, that's very cool that you're able to find some, and then, again, to turn and flip them around and send them off to people that can't get there.
It's honestly, it brings me joy. It makes me happy making others happy. And it's interesting because I think when I'm walking around the stadium, it has also happened where like a fan will just walk up to me and say, "Hey, do you want this? I don't need this extra." It's typically a visiting fan. And
Mhm.
so I'm so grateful. I don't know how they know to do that, but it's so cool.
So, you got you let's back this up. How did you get involved on Twitter, and how did you grow your following into being, well, at least the MLB fan council representative for the Rockies?
So I distinctly remember when I started it, the intention was to show the side of being a fan that I did not at that time feel like the media was covering at all. So you had a ton of
Mhm,
people recapping games, talking about, player acquisitions and all of that side of things. But there was also the random, cool, fun things that happened at the ballpark that weren't really publicized. It's like, I'm just going to start an X account, take some pictures sometimes, show people this side of things. So that was the intention. And literally, it is the giveaways that have grown the account, I believe, because that is when it
mhm,
really started picking up momentum, is by putting that up there. And just for to enter a giveaway, all I require people to do is either to like or retweet the post and answer this open-ended question that I'll put up there. There's a different one for each
mhm.
contest. And then I just draw randomly. And it's just fun to listen to other baseball players, excuse me, but baseball fans answer these questions, kind of hear about other fans' experiences. And what's interesting is with time and as the account has grown, I have some of the players' families entering my giveaways. I've
Mm,
met some of them. Some of their families been involved in some things that way. It is so cool how this connects people.
yeah, so what is Rocky's online fandom like? I mean, what is that community? Is it a good place? Is it a place that needs some work? What is it like to be a Rockies fan online?
Well, it's somewhat self selecting for me because the people that follow me that I regularly interact with are amazing. They're
Mhm,
positive, they're fun, they're there for the good vibes. Doesn't mean they can't be critical of the team. I myself am critical of the team occasionally, but not in a vicious way. So that's half of it. The other half, you have some fans that, I mean, honestly, it feels like no matter what the Rockies do, they're bound and determined to just be mad about it and to just lash out. Generally speaking, those people don't interact with me, nor do I get into it with them. But I feel like there's a kind of a clear divide between those two sides anymore. And it's out of frustration because the team has
yeah,
struggled. I totally get that. Rocky's Twitter, when it was called Twitter, when I
mhm,
started my account, which was, I believe, 10 years ago, was a big thing. That was how most of us communicated. That does seem to have split off a bit as other platforms have grown in popularity and people have decided to pursue those instead. So the community on X is one part, but there's also Rockies fans elsewhere communicating.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you get the podcasts and the writing and everything like that that probably draws people in different directions as well.
Yes.
Um, so you got the invitation to the MLB Fan Council. What was that like for you, and what's the experience been like in general?
So when I got the invite, I was thrilled. It was such a surprise. Like, this is random DM from MLB. It's like, whoa. And I had obviously no idea what fan council was, so my mind was kind of like racing wild at that time to think about what the format or structure might be. I was super just honored, basically. And that is true to this day. I'm still honored to be part of it. I have been to, so when the fan council meets, I've been to every single meeting since the first one. Haven't been as talkative at all of them, but I've definitely attended all of them.
Mhm.
And it has both expanded my knowledge because I've been a passionate fan, but I don't have all the knowledge in the world. And so Major League Baseball has educated me on some of the topics that I wasn't as knowledgeable about. It has been super interesting to hear other fans' perspectives, and I really appreciate the fact they've sent us, the detailed surveys so we can take some time to let them know what we think. I don't know how that factors into their decisions, if it does, but it just feels good to be heard.
Yeah, yeah, it's always this. Have I know you've put out there. I know you've put out some information about the council and the meetings that we've had. Have you had good feedback? Have you had people in the Rockies fandom say, "Hey, bring this up," or can you ask them about such and such?
I have. A lot of that comes via direct message. And I
Mhm.
haven't, I need to put out more than I have about what the meetings have been. Have this intention every time we have one to go recap the whole thing, and then life gets in the way. But
Right.
I definitely am always open to anybody's suggestions, and whether it be DM or comment. And it's, that's what makes the sport better is when we all bounce ideas off of each other and we can hear each other's perspective. And another thing that I love about the council is just meeting all the passionate fans from other teams. It's just so cool.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to see people, and we've gone through enough of these meetings where you start to recognize faces and names and voices, and it's interesting to see what they will do next year as as they're still figuring this thing out. I think we've had these discussions in the on the message, the direct message, that they're still figuring out what they want to do with us, and if anything, and but it's been fun. And I mean, was there a favorite one that you've had so far?
Well, I think what stands out to me, probably no surprise because of what I've explained about my X account, was the one where they talked about their authentication process.
Hmm.
Because I actually knew nothing about that other than that little hologram sticker existed and you could get information from it. But to learn how that program came about, how they have developed it, how they do it, who is eligible to do it, like all of that was so fascinating to me. And it's probably been the most memorable one.
Yeah, that one has stood out to me as well. I haven't made all of them. I missed a couple of them, but besides of course, the most recent one, which is stirred up a little bit on the finances of the game. But that one was very, very interesting to go into. Because Cardinal fans remember McGuire's home run chase and the special balls and all that kind of stuff, and to know kind of how far it's come from that to now. Every any single ball could be sold, and then tracked, and you could find out what happened in that time, and even have the Statcast data on it. It's pretty remarkable that they can do that, and you get all that information, yeah, like you said, from one little sticker.
Well, it's interesting. I remember they said that there are people, collectors, how it's changed collecting a little bit, and there are collectors who will pay a premium for a ball that had an exit velocity of, I think it was 110 or higher. I
Mhm.
never would have ever thought about that. It makes sense, but never would have I ever thought about that except hearing it from them.
No, no, I wouldn't have either. I mean, because it doesn't. I mean, a ball that has hit 110 plus doesn't necessarily look any differently than one that wasn't. So it's just that metadata that is around a baseball now is incredible. And yeah, so people want, specific collecting to get something of that nature. It's pretty amazing. And I don't know what, I mean, they kind of talked about, how they could do things in the future, other things that they might authenticate. But it's just a remarkable program.
I remember they told me, because you're insane, or you're with the Cardinals, right? You're a
Yeah.
Cardinals fan. They
Hmm.
said that one of the more unique items that had been authenticated was a urinal from Bush
Hmm.
Stadium that the
Yeah.
urologist had purchased for his office. I don't know why that stood out too.
I mean, that's pretty. That
I
one's
think
pretty
it's cool.
unique. There's no doubt. But yeah, I mean, to be able to get that, and as stadiums get replaced and things like that, you do get those unique event, and then they've had, the fact that players can ask for things to be authenticated and stuff like that is pretty neat as well.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana lets you buy your next car on your terms. Explore a massive inventory online, filter for what matters, and find your perfect match. Then choose delivery to your home or pick it up at one of Carvana's iconic car vending machines. Every car also comes with a 7-day money-back guarantee, so you can make sure it's the right fit. Buy your car on Carvana. Delivery or pickup fees may apply. Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Carvana.
Hi, I'm Jim. I'm not an actor, just a guy living with prostate cancer. My wife and I face each day head on. We asked my doctor about Xtandi enzalutamide.
Xtandi 40 milligram tablets treats men with prostate cancer that has spread to other parts of the body and responds to a medical or surgical treatment to lower testosterone. Xtandi may cause serious side effects: seizure, a brain condition called PRESS, allergic reactions, heart disease that can lead to death, falls and bone fractures, swallowing problems, or choking that can lead to death. Stop Xtandi and get medical help at once if your face, tongue, lip, or throat start swelling. Tell your doctor at once if you faint, have a seizure, quickly worsening headache, decreased alertness, confusion, vision problems, chest pain or discomfort, or shortness of breath. Xtandi can cause harm to an unborn baby or miscarriage. Use birth control during and 3 months after Xtandi. Common side effects include muscle and joint pain, feeling unusually tired, hot flashes, constipation, less appetite, diarrhea, high blood pressure, bleeding, falls, fractures, and headache.
Visit Xtandi.com to watch my story.
Yep.
So let's talk about the Rockies then. It was, I think it's fair to say, not a good year for the Rockies this
Times
past
3,
year.
yes.
Yeah. How, as a Rockies fan, is it frustrating to lose 119 games and not set a record, but just be a bad team? Or are you glad that you missed out on that kind of record?
I know that I'm probably the minority here, but honestly, I kept telling people throughout the season, if we're going to be bad, let's set the record.
Hmm.
Like, to me, missing it by 1 or 2 games, kind of the worst of both worlds, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought that might be the case, because I mean, it's like if you're going to suffer this much, make it worth something. And now, I mean, you're not even the worst National League team, right? I mean, it's pretty amazing that you're down there, but this was a tough season. Now, I'm sure that there were highlights though in it. Or what did you take away positively from 2025?
Well, okay, so there's big, press conference today for the Rockies. They just made a
Mhm.
major change. The president of baseball operations came in, Paul DePodesta,
Mhm.
and they just announced him today. And so I listened to his press conference. And so the positive from 2025 is I think it put us on the direction to make the needed changes that we need to make. Additionally, there's many. I mean, I kind of always thought this about the Rockies. If you look at them on paper individually, like meaning the players individually, I have always thought they look stronger than they perform. And so individually, there were definitely highlights in terms of, for example, Hunter Goodman, our catcher. Definitely
Mhm.
highlights like that. But I think that this season woke some people up to the reality that we need to change some things moving forward. And that is the first step to actually doing it.
Yeah, the Rockies have a reputation, and there were some articles, I think, even this summer that kind of pushed on that as well, of being behind the times, of not being as open to analytical procedures or anything of that nature. Is that true? Is that overblown, do you think? Or is that now going to change with DePodesta?
I think it's really hard to tell if it will change because he clearly stated in his press conference that his first intention is to get to know the organization, the people there currently, find out what its capabilities are, and then decide what holes he feels need to be filled in. So that's literally what he said he's starting with. He said he believes in building a team, not just hiring individuals. So it's hard to know what that direction will look like. I honestly don't know if it's fair to say that they've been behind the times or not, because none of us, meaning us fans, have access to that level of decision making behind the scenes. The perception is definitely that, though. And I think what I have seen, and this is just a very casual observation, they're a great organization. They care about their employees, about their fans. It's a wonderful atmosphere to catch a game in. It's possible that like that same caring vibe blinds some people to realities when changes do need to be made.
Mm.
Like
I could see
loyalty
that.
can go too far.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make some sense. So I was going to ask then, but it seems to me like you have a fairly positive opinion of ownership, even if it's not perfect.
Well, 100% I do. I like our owner. That puts me as a target to other fans venting their frustration sometimes. I
Mhm.
don't care. I'll die on this hill. He's a good person. He is very, very generous, very kind. He cares. Like, there's this narrative out there that he doesn't care about winning. He only cares about money. I've experienced exactly the opposite. And I do have great, great, great respect for him. This does not mean, however, that he's immune from fair criticisms. I think anybody's performance in any sport can be fairly criticized.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that I mean, you're obviously and we've seen that a little bit with the DeWitts in St. Louis as well. I mean, there's a group that probably thinks they can do no right, but um we've seen also some really good stuff out of them over the last 25 years now. Actually closer to 30. So
It, it just cracks me up just as a general comment. This is not about Rockies
Mhm.
specifically, but anytime I hear a fan say like their owner only cares about money, first of all, I don't believe anybody only cares about money. All of them make a ton of it. But I
Right.
mean, if you own a professional sports organization, it is a business. And so finances are part of that consideration. So it's just funny that like some fans seem to have this perception that it shouldn't matter at all.
Yeah, and I think what it boils down to, at least for some, is how much do they need to make? You look at a situation like in Pittsburgh where, at least from publicly record, they make money even if they don't sell a ticket, right? But they're still not necessarily investing much of that into the team. Um, Whether that's true or not, I don't. But that's at least the impression. I guess that's where it really gets down to. I know there are some fans that think they should spend every little dime that they have to make this a team, and obviously that's never going to happen. But then there does become that, are they making is it they need to make money, or does they need to make a certain amount of money? And being that we don't see the books, we don't see any of this stuff. We don't know how they do the accounting. We can't really judge them on that. All you can do is judge them on what they do.
Very true. And a couple things. So I think I'm speaking now just from having grown up in a household where my dad worked in college athletics. So I saw that
Mhm.
side of it behind the scenes. And just one huge takeaway was very, very, very often public perception about something major going on was different than the reality behind the scenes. And I
Mm.
carry that into watching the Rockies. I am not privy to the behind the scenes details. I know what people publicly perceive. And I have to believe that it's kind of the same thing where you think you know it all just because you're a fan watching it from the outside, and you really truly don't know what's going on behind the scenes, don't know who's calling what shots, don't know why certain decisions that on the surface appear kind of baffling were made. A lot of assumptions are made, and I don't think that's always fair.
No, I think it's always, and I've always tried to couch some things that we talk about as like with the caveat, there are things we don't know. That there are information that we may not have. But given the available information, XYZ, and I think we've seen a lot of that in the past because we'll see, okay, well, why did this happen? And then, 2 months later, we find out a player was hurt or, there was some sort of, personnel issue or clubhouse issue or whatever the case may be. And it makes a lot more sense. So trying to trying to judge anything in the moment is difficult. But that doesn't ever stop us from doing it.
Very true. Fair.
um, so there are two Cardinals that, I mean, there's more than that, I'm sure, that have gone back and forth. We have the Rockies and the Cardinals have connections, but there's two that stand out for us: Matt Holliday and Nolan Arenado. What were your opinions of them as Rockies? And then, of course, Holliday took that little step to Oakland before he came to St. Louis. But what was your opinion as they left?
So when Holliday left specifically, I wasn't as into things as I am
Yeah.
now. So I could speak a lot more knowledgeably about the Nolan part. But when Holliday left, I was sad to see him go, frankly. He was a great asset to the team, somebody that was very recognizable. And, at that time, my knowledge of behind the scenes of what was going on being very limited, I just looked at it more like, oh my gosh, that's one of my favorite players. He's leaving. That sucks. I mean, it was a very simplistic view, but I think a lot of fans do exist on that level.
Sure.
And it hurt. It hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Nolan comes later, so I first of all, I just have to say that I feel so incredibly blessed that I got to see Nolan Arenado play third base in person over and over. I have about a dozen foul balls from him. So he was a
Wow.
pull hitter. My seats were the very first row on the third base line, like I could lean over and touch the warning track. He would just drill ground balls and or like liners like right at my like head level at me. Obviously not at me intentionally, but like I loved the thrill of catching those. So that's just one memory I have of that. But he was so just amazingly gifted. It was a pleasure to watch him play. When he left, I did not love how it played out either on the team's end or his end. Of course, I don't know everything that happened behind the scenes, but we talk about perception. I know what was said. I know kind of how it came across. And I didn't like it, frankly. And I'll be honest, because I didn't like it, because I didn't think it was handled well, I stopped finding myself like enthusiastically rooting for him after he left. I wasn't wishing him poor, like wishing bad on him, but it was hard to stay as, motivated to be excited. Still acknowledge him super talented, but yeah, I didn't like how it left.
And that's fair. I mean, I think that, obviously on this end of it, it's a whole bunch of excitement when that all came down, or when it was being rumored to come down and all that kind of stuff, because, being able to get a player of that magnitude. But yeah, I can see from your point of view for sure. Anytime a player is wanting out, and to be fair, Nolan is kind of wanting out now, although it's a little bit different situation. Um, I think that it's hard as a fan not to take that personal, right? I think that even though we know we shouldn't, and we know that baseball's a business and all that kind of stuff, there's still a little part that thinks, why don't you want to be here?
And it was really hard because he had just committed to being here long term before that happened, shortly before that happened. And so something, and who knows what, there were lots of rumors happened to change kind of like his attitude about it, the team's attitude about it. And it's hard to stomach. It just is.
Yeah.
And I wish to God I was a fly on the wall to be able to speak exactly what happened. But I do think when he left, and let's just assume he had every reason to want to be gone because of whatever happened. I still think the way it was handled to kind of like publicly say things about your team, not very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And it does feel like there was at least some sort of personality conflicts with him and the GM at the time. That may have led to some of that. I don't know, but you're right. It gets into the public. It's always difficult. And we're seeing that. Not the same thing. Again, Nolan seems to be content in St. Louis, but he realizes that it's a situation that's not necessarily the best fit for him anymore. And I think it's going to be interesting to see if they can trade him this offseason and where he goes. But you're right. We got him for 4 years, and that defense was just incredible. Absolutely. I mean, we had Scott Rowland at one point in time before that, but to be able to watch Nolan on a regular basis is truly a treat.
It is. I mean, like literally, I used to say I will tell my grandparents someday that I got to see Nolan Arenado play live and I got to use paper tickets to get into stadiums.
They won't believe the second part, probably.
I
They
know.
won't,
Oh my
you
God,
know,
I miss those so much.
what's that? What's a, but you didn't just put your headset on and virtual reality it. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So before we wrap it up, you, like I said, you've got a depth of knowledge of the Rockies. You've watched a lot of games. If you had to pick out one favorite player, who would it be?
Are you talking like all-time favorite? Or are you talking current favorite? And are you
I was talking
talking
all-time favorite Rocky.
all-time favorite Rocky? Okay, and then one other question would be, are you talking like just based on a player level, like talent, or are you talking all around, like just favorite
Any way
person?
you want to take it, I'll you give me two answers. That'd be fine too.
Okay, well, I mean, okay, so it's hard not to love Vinny Castilla for me. I
Mm.
actually grew up across the street from him, or at least he
Oh,
lived across
really?
the street from my parents for a while. I didn't And because of that, there were interactions and there was like a camaraderie.
Yeah.
Additionally, he was an amazing player. And he also continued or continues to help out with stuff like fantasy camp. So when I went to fantasy camp, he was one of the coaches. So he's interacting on like a personal level with people.
Mhm.
And you just see like a variety of sides of him. And so it's hard to separate that from just strictly player.
Yeah.
So somebody like him would probably be an all-time favorite for those reasons. Somebody that I just really enjoyed watching, who I thought was amazingly talented around the Nolan time too, and honestly, I think they brought out the best in each other, was Trevor Story.
Hmm. Okay.
And a little bit biased there too, because his mom would interact with me on my X account quite a bit. Anytime I would post stuff, she was super supportive, super involved, and so it just made me care about the family too.
Hmm.
But that's what I mean, is it just when you get that involved with the team, it's like those lines kind of blur between admiring someone strictly on a player level and then kind of learning things about them or whatever that make you care even more.
Yeah, I mean, especially as dedicated as you are to it, and the constant being there, that you're going to have those interactions, and it's going to give a whole nother shade to everything. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, Shannon, I appreciate you joining me tonight. It's been a lot of fun to talk to you and talk a little bit of Rockies. And hopefully we can do it again sometime.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This conversation just gets me so excited for opening day, which is, countdown is on already.
It is. It is. We've got some off season to do, but it will be here before you know it. So look forward to that. Until next time, for Shannon, I'm Daniel. Good night.
Good night.
Arenado, deep left. Has he done it? Goodbye! A grand slam to end the night.
Two fastballs and decided to go breaking ball and hung it. What a night for the St. Louis Cardinals, coming all the way back. Down 2 in the ninth to Devin Williams to tie it. And a walk-off slam